Good morning. Welcome to Casa TexPina. We're on build day number 33. Heading in this morning. The guys are already on site. They should still be continuing with the concrete hollow block wall construction. Continuing around the exterior walls. Everything that has a 6-inch hollow block wall is what's being built at this time. They're also going to pull the forms off of the 2 posts that they finished yesterday and continue pouring the concrete column, or the one column that was in the center of the great room wall. So they'll take a look at that. They'll finish that this morning, and then they should be probably pulling the form off towards the end of the day or first thing tomorrow morning. Also of note for today, we have a representative coming this afternoon for a company that sells solar hot water heaters. I'm gonna try and add that in if the representative is amicable to being videoed while he's presenting a proposal. If he's amicable to being videoed, we'll add that into the video. If not, I'll catch you up at the end and tell you what the prices look like for the size that we're looking for this house. There are several different manufacturers. The one I'm looking at in particular originates out of Australia and has been in business for over 60 years. So we'll take a look at those and I'll let you know how it goes. So let's go ahead and see how the guys are doing this morning. All right. Gentlemen are continuing with the hollow block walls, again around the dirty kitchen area. Let's go walk around to the front and see where they're at on that side of the building. So we're still working on the walls here in the center by the actual kitchen. That's Mr. Wilson there in the center. He'll be continuing up from the 4th course for the rest of the walls. He did a small wall yesterday up to the 10th course, which will be the top where the lintel beam will go. Apparently they're running the lintel beam all the way around the whole building. Okay, so we poured 2 columns yesterday. This one actually looks really good. Fairly decent. This one on the other hand has a little bit of blowout, so we'll have to work on that and see what they do with it. So talking to the foreman, what they're going to do with this is chisel it back down to, we had a blowout on the form, and they're going to chisel it back down to size where it's supposed to be, and then they'll plaster up the rest of it. This is all going to get plastered again once it's to the right size, and put decorative molding around the top and bottom. These columns are both, the one here and the one on the other side of the great room, are both for decorative purposes. They've got enough rebar in them to be supportive, but they are intended to be just decorative. So when we're building columns in the States, we like to see our concrete as smooth as possible, right? You want to see it have a nice smooth finish. The shinier the better. Here in the Philippines they want a rough finish, so they'll actually go back at it. This was the column that had a blowout. Let me show it to you from the other side so you see it without the shadow. They've gone back and chiseled all this off. This is where we had the big blowout. So the form, what happened was the form broke, and where the form broke, they've come back in and chiseled it away so that it's back to being almost square. So you can see it's approximately right size. What they'll do after this is come back in and plaster coat it when it gets ready for finishing. And the other one, you see, like I was mentioning, we like to have a smooth coat here. They come back in and chisel it out, just little pop marks everywhere, so that we can they'll be able to add the mortar on top of it at a later point. so that the mortar has something to adhere to. Yeah, you can feel this, the concrete's still wet. So it's good enough to hold up for today, and it'll continue curing. They'll keep pouring water on it as it keeps going. This was the column that they started on yesterday. Got about halfway done before the end of the day. They have not started pouring concrete again just yet, but they will get to that soon. You can still see there's still daylight here, but down here, concrete. So they got concrete probably up to about halfway up the column. So they'll continue up the rest of the way later this afternoon as they go ahead and form up some other columns. This is the one between, we have the master suite on that side of the room, on that side of the wall. This is the back patio on this side, and the great room on this side. So Mr. Manny and Orly are still putting up the additional stirrups to support the roof and the second floor slab as they work their way around the building. Mr. Jericho was over here earlier this morning, and they were working the grade beam, or the lentil beam, up here at the top of the window in the master's closet. Jericho is now moved over to the back of the master's bedroom. He and Mr. Justin are working the walls to continue up to again the same height, so they'll put a lentil beam all the way across the top of this one to support the load of the roof above the window. Alright, looks like we got a large delivery of sand coming in. Alright, so the material has been dumped. Oh, my bad. I thought this was pre-sifted sand. This is not pre-sifted sand. This is more fill material, for same as what we had here. Notice the big honking rock in the back. So, yeah, not sand. Dirt. Fill material. Got it. Alright, let's walk by around and see this afternoon what they had completed since this morning over lunch. So the dirty kitchen is up to 10 courses, which is the same height as the lentil beam that they're putting around. Looks like we completed another section of the kitchen wall. They've also put forms up for the concrete for the columns. Good afternoon. Looks like we're continuing with the forms. Also wetting down some of the hollow blocks so that the concrete binds a little easier and don't lose all the moisture out of the mortar mix directly into the hollow blocks. The back wall, or the western wall for the master's suite, for the master's bedroom, has been completed up to the height of the lintel beam. Mr. Orley and Mr. Manny up here making lintel beam across the large west window of the great room, oh sorry, of the master suite. All right, they're starting to pour concrete somewhere. Let's go see where they're putting concrete. Mr. Rafi's up here pouring concrete down the column. First one they're starting off with is the one that they only got about halfway yesterday afternoon before the yabba dabba doo bell rang. Hi, hello. So from the other side of the wall, Mr. Rafi's up on scaffolding, pouring in the concrete, and it is matching up with the previously poured concrete from yesterday. And they'll come back here momentarily and use a rod. Here comes the rod to rod that down, as well as a hammer to hit the sides. Make sure we have 0 honeycombs. I'm glad. This makes me very happy. Ups, ups. They're leaving about an inch to 2 inches gap underneath, so that when they come back and pour the lintel beam all the way along the top, it'll have a place to grab onto each column at that location to kind of try to bind them together a little bit. Alright, so they'll continue this. They'll do another one for this column here, and then once that one's complete, they'll catch the column here on the end. So they are going at it with a rod. Once they get the concrete poured, fairly long rod, so they get all the way, or at least pour most of the way to the bottom, and then they are hitting it with a hammer at several locations on each side to try to make sure that we don't have any honeycombs. The honeycombs that we do have, they'll patch quickly with additional mortar once they pull the forms off. All right, it's yabba dabba do time. Guys are starting to put away the tools. They finished the 3 columns here in the great room that you see behind me. They're just wrapping those up. We'll pull the forms off tomorrow morning when we come in. Take a look at those. So today they just about completed the hollow block wall for the dirty kitchen area, as well as got most of the way done for the kitchen. They had put a lintel beam across here, but it was a little too low, so we had to remove that, and this is going to be about a 9-foot opening here going out from the kitchen into the guest hallway with immediate right into the formal dining room, so that way we can get the food from the kitchen to the table easier than having to go through the living room to do it. Okay. We also had representatives stop by from Solanda, who sells a solar hot water heater from a company called Solahart, which has been in business in Australia for more than 60 years. As far as applications here in the Philippines, they've had some excuse me, they had some applications as far back as the early 1970s for the solar hot water heaters that are still in operation. So good track record, good company. We're going to take a look at it for putting on top of this house. That way we got basically free hot water, and the tank that we're looking at is about an equivalent to an 80-gallon tank. It's a 302 liter. It should be sized well enough to take care of the entire house. So basically free hot water for as long as the sun is shining. That's about it for today. If you like today's videos, please give us a thumbs up, comment down below, and hit the subscribe button or the Casa TexPina star in the bottom right hand corner. Also, if you'd like to know when our next video has been uploaded, hit the little bell icon and you'll be notified when our next video has been uploaded for your viewing pleasure. Until then, have a great day and God bless. Thank you for watching. If you liked today's video, please hit like, subscribe, and hit the little bell icon to be notified when our next video becomes available.